back to Straight Facts. It's Friday. I'm joined by Don and Staffy. So many big games to talk about this weekend. Man United hosting Chelsea, the Merseyside derby, and of course, Arsenal versus Manchester City. One of the, I think, great games of the last couple of seasons, that the way the fans go at each other, the media's reaction, and they're going head-to-head on Super Sunday. We're looking ahead at those matches and the talking points and stories surrounding them, because there's a lot to go through today with Man United thinking of new managers, Chelsea no winning 2, with the PFA nonsense around their neck. You've got Arsenal. You know, could they stop this mini run that City are on and bring them back down to reality? Liverpool, will they win again in the 90th plus minute of a game? Can you imagine 6 if it's 6 on the bounce? So do us a favor, sit yourselves down, grab a drink for the next 90 minutes or so. Make sure you've already hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribing as well. Really important to the show that you do that. But gentlemen, how are you both, first of all?
Good, man. Good. Sorted out my hotel last night, Terry. So it looks like I'm definitely there tomorrow, man. You know what I mean? My first time at Old Trafford. So looking forward to it. But yeah, I hope I'm going to be seeing Saeed after, you know, cooking this guy. You know what I'm saying? But it's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've beaten, you know, at Old Trafford.
Are you meeting Saeed in the car park?
Yeah, after. I should be meeting Saeed in the car park. If we lose, then
who would win in a scrap in the car park? Let's be real. You or him? Probably Saeed. He's probably like twice his size. So.
No, I'd go with Don. You know, I think Saeed's a big lad, but I don't think he's athletic or aggressive. Where Don's had a proper few scraps, I can tell. So I'd go with Don.
Maybe. All it needs is one hit.
Don will be bopping about like he's Terence Crawford. Do you know what I'm saying? Just like in and out, boom and out, boom out.
I'm like Mayweather, mate. I'm quick. I'm too quick. I'm too quick.
it'll be like Don Mackey's Captain America versus the Red Hulk. Do you know what I mean? He'll get it done. But not a bad scrap. Oh, I want to see fight. If I was to pay for some YouTubers I know to fight, so I'd pay to watch, not pay them to fight, would be Don Hussam versus Staffy.
See, the big men I've become a little bit too unathletic over the last couple of years. But give me a camp and I'll be ready. I'll tell you that. I used to box a little bit.
How tall is Hussam? I suppose he's like 6'2".
He's a big lad.
Hussam is like 6'1".
Yeah, he don't look tall, you know. He don't look tall.
Sam's one of those people. Whatever he tells me his measurements are, whatever he tells me he benches, whatever he tells me he squats, I like take 20% off.
I was gonna say deduct a little bit of it because some of his shit is just unrealistic.
He's a 20.
You can tell because like if you used to lift, you used to fight, you know, but like all right, you're a little bit exaggerating right here, you know. So
that's Hussam, man. They got Hussam.
Some hype, bro. Hey, someone said bet the house on Staffy. Bro, listen, I'm telling you, give me a camp. I promise you. Just get me back in shape. I'll knock him out. Don't worry about it. Just get me back in shape.
If it's stand-up, I'm going with you. It's wrestling. What you like with wrestling?
Wrestling? I'm not a great wrestler, but I used to scrap a little bit with my boy who did MMA, so he used to teach me a little bit of what he does. So I have a little bit of idea how to wrestle, but I'll never pretend that I'm a good wrestler.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Viewers, let us know who you think would win. Let us know, please. Loads to talk about today, but I want to start. I'm going to start with Liverpool and the Merseyside derby today. Actually, obviously they take on Everton, but it feels like a weird start for Liverpool, really, because a lot of people are calling them lucky, unsustainable football. A lot of their new signings are getting a lot of stick. But they are 5 wins from 5 as well, which is kind of crazy. I wanted to ask you first and foremost about Wirtz, and I'll go to Staffy first. He's getting a lot of stick. Has he been as bad as people are making out, in your opinion?
It's not that he's been bad. You understand the hype that comes around a big price. I don't think he's been living up to the price tag, but that just happens in the Premier League. When you look at the most expensive signings in the Premier League history, especially if you want to talk about just the last decade, your Caicedos, your Enzos, your Pogbas, your Lukakus. Now you got Wirtz, your Jack Grealishes. The list goes on. Players who come in with a hefty fee, especially if you're rated as well. Which, let's be honest, he's a good player. We've seen what he's done in the German league before he's come into here. invincible with Bayer Leverkusen, won the league, and it's very impressive to win the league in Germany when you're not Bayern. And he's coming in with a lot of potential, a lot of hype, and a lot of expectations. City wanted him before he went to Liverpool, so that just shows you that not only one club wanted him, another club that's just reigned supreme over the Premier League over the last few years was looking at him for a potential KDB replacement to be the new face maybe of this team. And when you come in and listen, obviously you understand there's a little bit of banter when you do the 007 gimmick where an attacker comes in and doesn't get a goal or an assist. That's a little bit banterous, but like when you actually talk about the football and you use the eye test and use the stats, it is a little bit underwhelming. And even when you check his ratings so far, if you're one of those people who likes to check FootMob ratings or what's it called? What's the other website? SofaScore ratings as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna look like those popsicles that have like a color on each sex. So it's like green, yellow, red, orange, red again. That's what it looks like right now. He's just like a little bit all over the place. I thought he had a decent game against Atleti. If we're being honest, if you want to be technical, he should have had an assist if Salah didn't hit the post on that one sitter that he had. So there you go. At least the 007 gimmick that people like to run, that would have been gone. But he did have a decent game. But equally, you look at the game before, I think he was like kind of non-existent. I understand the outrage. I understand how football fans move anyways. We do like to do that with our rivals. It's a little bit of shamelessness in us, especially like online or in the group chats. But if you're being honest, yeah, a conversation should be had. Is he living up to the price right now? No. Is he going to come good? I still think he's going to come good. I think he's going to have to get adjusted to the physicality of the Premier League. He's a very intelligent player, very good on the ball, but he's going to have to work out how to just get up to pace with the league, because you can't be as physical as some of these players, because you look at his frame and you look at him just physically, he's not as strong as some of the midfielders are in the Premier League. But there's so many players that had the physical disadvantage over the years that still managed to make a career in the Premier League. David Silva was probably the biggest one, if you want to mention him.
Oh, Mata, bro, at Chelsea, bro, killing it. And he weren't Mata. He weren't
Mata as well. But like the reason I use David Silva is because I think he's like one of the best players to play in the Premier League that we look at. Like he was just a maestro outside of just being fast and physical, whatever. And he was able to get with the pace of the Premier League and be effective. I think Wirtz will take time to get that. But it is a conversation to be had. It's what does he need to do? How does he start being a little bit more involved in his team? How does he become a little bit more effective for his team? It does help that they're 5 wins in 5. So it makes the conversation a little bit less. If I'm being honest, though, and I was saying that yesterday to my Liverpool friend, I said, if you take 2-3 wins from your first 5, which was very plausible, by the way, because how many last-minute winners they had? 4 of the 5 was last-minute winners. You're having a completely different conversation. You probably are hearing a lot more, not just from the rivals. I think you'd hear a lot more from the Liverpool fans about it not being good enough, especially with how much money we spent on you, and we dropped already like X amount of points if that would have happened. But yeah, man, I think it will come good, but a conversation is definitely needed right now.
Yeah, man, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I'm not going to make any sweeping statements about him because he's the sort of player I like. That's number one. And I believe in his ability. I think he'll come good. And just looking at the players around him, bro, like Isak, Salah, and these sort of guys. I didn't watch the game against Atletico. Like I had it on the back, but obviously I was focusing on the game against Bayern. But from what I was seeing, it sounded like he had a good game with Isak. Apparently, him and Isak were linking up quite well. I don't know. You guys could probably tell me a bit more. But yeah, I think he just needs a little bit of time. And I think the biggest thing for me, like I said, when I'm watching him, very similar to like when I'm watching Gittins, it just seems like they just need a bit more confidence. Like they're low key just playing within themselves. You know what I'm saying? Not really trying to take risks on the ball. You know, passing on responsibility to others. But as soon as the assists start to come, the goals start to come, you'll see him trying more things. Because the players like Wirtz, they're risk takers in the team. But right now, we're not seeing Wirtz taking many risks. So clearly there's something wrong. You know what I mean? Clearly there's something wrong, bro. So I think with time and you know, when he starts to put up numbers and that, then you'll see the guy that you were seeing in Germany. He might not put up, you know, the Palmer sort of numbers, but you'll see him getting maybe 10 assists by the end of the season. You know, 8 goals in the first season. I don't think that's a bad return, you know? So
why'd you say Palmer type of numbers?
Because Palmer numbers were phenomenal, bro. Like, this guy's on what? 74 GA in the space.
So you're saying Palmer is what Wirtz should thrive to become?
Yes, of course. Palmer's the best 10 in the league. Palmer's the best 10 in the league, bro. So yeah, that's the levels that you want to get to, man. Because he's a game changer. He's been a game changer for us. He needs to be a game changer for them. They can't keep depending on Salah because you already know Salah. Most of the game, he's not really involved like that. He'll get you the GNA, cool, but Wirtz should be getting more touches on the ball than Salah. Wirtz should be coming back more, going back and forth on the pitch. You know, being a little bit more influential, right? So yeah, man, that's what I expect from him. If I was a Liverpool fan right now, I'll be saying, bro, Palmer's the benchmark. You got to try to get to there, bro, or even better.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah, look, I mean, Palmer is is one of the best in the league. There is no, excuse me, no doubt about that. I think with Wirtz, I think all we're seeing here is a sort of, and Liverpool fans have made this happen as well because I think there's members of each of our fan bases that are accountable for this. And it's just got worse and worse. You know, 80 million, 100 million pound signings have always had high levels of scrutiny because of their price, and he's never going to get away from that. And Liverpool fans have joined in with that. Liverpool fans joined in with 007 talk when Sancho was at United, with Pogba talk as an example. All of us have criticised Jack Grealish. But what's happened is, it's a little bit like Man United's managerial appointments. Each one gets less and less and less time before the fans turn on them. Now, I remember the summer, people were literally criticising players that weren't scoring debut goals in pre-season matches. And I think for me, that's all he's really... sorry, I just got a weird message through. Not a weird message, a family message, and I didn't know what it meant. And I was like, anyway, I'm coming out of that group chat right now because I can't be dealing with family right now. And like, it's one of those things for me where I think that he's just suffering from the overanalyzing from fans. We know that the pundits are killing the game by taking that football banter and running sort of real stories on it. He was very good, I thought, against Atletico, and Salah missed a chance and hit the post. He would have got an assist, which would have given him the GA to wrap that performance up with. And what I'm also noticing, a lot of the punks online that are really having a go at him are the same people that, for a player like Bruno, when Bruno was in his pomp, would say, yeah, but apart from GA, what's he doing? Well, Wirtz is doing all those other things. And this is where football fans annoy me and wind me up, and they just create, like, everything's about banter and not having serious conversations. And I've been talking about this for 2 or 3 weeks now. It makes banter boring if you must have a friend of yours. Everyone's got a friend in their group who's the funny guy in the group, always making jokes, making everyone laugh. There comes a point where even his mates turn and go, all right, mate, shut up now. It gets too much. That's how I feel it's gone. But I think Wirtz has done all right. He'll score soon. The pressure will go away. How about Liverpool, boys? Obviously, they're at home against Everton. I think we expect them to win the game. But what have you made of them so far? Because there's a lot of people out.
Are you that easily? Everton have been good.
Everton have, I think, taken points, not even one, but taken points off of Liverpool, I think, once or twice in 25 years at that ground. Okay. Yeah. So you think they might take points off of Liverpool? Go on.
They've been playing better now.
I think it's a conversation. I'm not going to predict it. I'm still going to predict the Liverpool win because it's at home. It's at Anfield. But I don't think this is the Everton version that we've seen over the last couple of years. I think this is probably the best Everton I've seen over the last 3-4 years, maybe. They've been looking decent. And one thing about them is they're going to make the game physical. And we've seen this Liverpool team, how many times right now, this season, have they taken a lead, conceded a couple goals, almost slipped away the game, and then they find a way to win it. I don't know. Listen, I do expect this Liverpool eventually to get into rhythm a little bit. And I do think they're still going to go up a gear. So when they're winning and they're not looking this great, imagine what's going to happen when they look better. Because I do think they're going to look better. But as of right now, I think they're getting into so many close games. And I think this Everton team, they are capable of playing a decent defensive game. And this Liverpool team showed me that they can see goals. If this game goes late and somehow they allow Everton in the game and it's a 1-1, 2-2, which I think it's very possible to happen because Liverpool have been conceding a lot of goals, I do see a scenario where Liverpool can drop points. I'm not personally going to predict it because I do think Liverpool are going to win. They've shown me over the last 5 games they'll find a way to win every time because they have enough quality on the pitch and they do create a lot of chances in times, but they do allow teams to get back into games. And I do see this Everton team creating a few chances. There's going to be probably larger periods where they're conceding a lot of the ball. But when they get their chances, when they go up forward, I do feel like there's a scenario where I think Everton is going to score a couple goals. So I don't think it's that easy to look at it and say, we're all expecting Liverpool to win. I'm going to predict it, but I understand why a lot of people might think this might end like in a draw or something. I'm hearing people yesterday saying 1-1, 2-2, and I actually do see a scenario. I could see a game ending in 2-2. I generally do.
Yeah. And the thing is about Everton, they've got the profile of player to actually exploit the problem. Yeah. Ndai, bro, Dewsbury Hall, you know what I mean? You've got
Grealish is even cooking, bro, since he went there.
Cooking, bro. He's been facilitating on a mad one. You know what I'm saying, bro? So I don't know if Frimpong's going to start that game, innit? But it's not going to be an easy game for him on that side. I know Grealish isn't your touchline sort of winger, but he's a problem. And he's been very, very good for Everton. He's been looking confident. He knows he's you know, arguably the best player on the pitch, in the team even, right? So he's looking rejuvenized at the minute. And I just like their front three, man, how fluid they're looking. Again, Dewsbury Hall, looking at the Dewsbury Hall from Leicester, right? He's been cooking right now. Their defense, they've actually got a good defense as well. I haven't checked how many goals they've conceded this year, but Tawolski, you know, these sort of guys and that. Pickford is an annoying guy as well, blood. That guy's annoying, man. He's a decent shot stopper. He's not a bad shot stopper either. But you're up against it at Anfield, innit? This is the problem. You know, even if they go up first, Liverpool, man, they just always find a way at that place. And right now, you're seeing what they're doing, man. It's just, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about them. They just seem to be inevitable, man, with these W's. But it's not going to be a walk in the park. It's not going to be like, you know, last year when they were facing Everton. I know they dropped points to Everton away, right? But I don't think it's going to be an easy game, man. I hope Everton go there and, you know, don't do a Chelsea against Bayern Munich. Like, actually believe that you're going to, you know, win the game and be in the game majority of the time, because they've got a chance to leave with something, man. Even if it's not a W, a point away from home there is a good point, man. It's a good point.
Yeah, look, you both make good arguments. I mean, Everton can do it. I just think what's going to happen is, I think you both said a lot of things that are true and will happen. And what I mean by that is, I think Everton will be in the game. I think Everton can make it difficult. It might be close on the scoreline, but I just think the inevitable is going to happen, and Liverpool are just going to find a way to win that match. Will it be a goal in the last 10 minutes? Will it be a goal in time added on? I fancy a little flutter on that. I fancy sticking a tenner on Liverpool scoring the winning goal in the last 10 minutes plus of the game, because it happens quite a bit in Merseyside derbies, and they've already done it so many times already this season. And what it does, going into that last 10 minutes, going into added time now, they've created, although Liverpool actually historically have won games more in injury time than Man United have, under Sir Alex Ferguson, it was called Fergie time, and teams would get nervous when that ball went up. You know, last season when everybody, they actually did Arsenal a favour when everybody made a big song and dance about Arsenal getting set pieces and how dangerous they were. Every time, there was about a 3 or 4 month period where every time they won a set piece, you could hear the crowd of Arsenals go crazy, and you could hear the nervousness in even the home fans. If Arsenal were away, you hear the stadium go quiet because they're like, oh no. And I think that's why Liverpool going to do it. I wouldn't bet against them doing it again. 1-1 going into the last 5 minutes of the game. You watch Everton's bums go, just because of what's been in the media the last few games. But I'd like to see Liverpool drop points. I would, especially if the sort of Arsenals and Liverpools and Bournemouths could all pick up points, because I don't want anyone creating no early gap, if that makes sense. It'd be nice, you know, to get 10, 12, 15 games into this season and there only be a handful of points between sort of 3, 4, 5 teams at the top. I think that'd be very, very nice indeed. So, and of course, you'll as a Chelsea fan be wanting Liverpool to drop points because you're probably fancying yourselves at Old Trafford, you know, and you've you dropped four points so far this year. But yeah, I've got to go. Prediction wise, I'm going with a Liverpool win, but I do agree with you both. It won't be an easy game, and you never know in the Premier League. It would be great viewing to see Everton do it, because I'm really happy for Everton. Actually, I thought it's the first game of the season I watched them, and I was a little worried. I thought, oh, there could be a relegation team. They've actually looked really good since then. Looked really, really good.
And their stadium looks good as well, man. I'm jealous. I can't lie, bro. Their stadium looks nice, bro. I can't lie, man.
Yeah, no, it doesn't nice.
Sorry, someone in my comment section yesterday, we were talking about the Liverpool-Everton game, and he said, we were basically saying Everton could pick up points, and he said it doesn't matter if Everton pick up points because of global warming, that stadium is gonna drown in 10 years anyways. And I was like, yo, that is next level pettiness. That's nothing to do with the game. You just want their stadium to drown because of global warming. But no, listen, I think they've been playing good football. Everton's been a team that I wanted for a while to get relegated because I've just been so tired of them putting out shit teams and shit managers and being shit every year. This is one of the years where I'm looking at them like, you know what, fair enough. You're playing decent football. You're actually entertaining me. And I agree with you. I think there's a scenario where they could win. I'm not personally going to bet it because I'm looking at this Liverpool team and it just seems inevitable at this point because of their quality that they always find a way to get back into the game. And fair enough, that is what quality teams do. This is what you guys, well, not you, Terry, but this is what people used to hate on us for under Fergie, saying we always got lucky, this, and that. Now that you're actually seeing a similar team to that Fergie team that has so much quality, even though they don't have an identified style of play, because no one can tell me right now what's style of play, quality at the end eventually prevails, and they do pick up 3 points. So for that, I'm going to go for them to win. But I'm going to be actually very entertained and looking forward to this game. It's going to be super early here. It's going to be at 7:30. I'm waking up for it. I want to see some of the matchups. I want to see that midfield go against that midfield. Sabitzer has been playing very good so far. I feel like he doesn't get talked about enough. More people are focused on Wirtz not playing well at the moment. But some of the Everton matchups, I'm looking forward to it. Like you said, Don, KDH. People saying he's the Conference League KDB. I'm looking forward to watching him. Gaya. The rest of that midfield, as you said, the front line. I want to see what Ndai is going to do against Frimpong. I want to see what what's his name, what Jack Grealish is going to do.
He'll be up against the left back, bro, Kirkes or Robertson if he starts.
Oh, sorry. On the other side, yeah, Grealish is going to be the one against Frimpong. And I'm going to see how that defense is going to be got at, because I do look at Everton on the transition. They actually do have some weapons that they can use against this team. So I'm looking forward to this game. Anyone, by the way, who's trying to dismiss that Everton have a chance to get in this game and we're just going to sit here and predict a Liverpool win for 38 games this season, honestly, maybe football YouTube is not for you, because there's no reason for us to sit here and say, yeah, 3 points every time Liverpool. We might as well not have a Liverpool segment, by the way. Just say, yeah, Liverpool are too good, 3 points, let's move on. They're not going to have 38 wins in 38 games. If that's just going to drop points, it's our job right here to sit here and look at their opposition and look at what's going on at the time and say, hey, could this be a game where they drop points? I'm not saying they will, but I wouldn't be surprised if Everton took points. For that,
100%. I think we're valid here. What are we saying scoreline-wise?
I'm going to say a 3-2 Liverpool. I do expect goals.
Let me see how many goals Everton has conceded.
I'm going to go 3-2 Liverpool. 3-2 Liverpool is my prediction. I think they'll do it, but
I was actually going to say the same. I was actually going to say the same, 3-2.
Damn, look at you guys influenced by me. Everyone predicted a 3-2.
Yep. Where are they?
Oh, did you say 3-2? I was actually thinking about my answer. I thought you said 3-1.
No, it's 3-2.
Oh, I'll go 2-1 then. I don't want to be the same as you.
No, keep it 3-2. It's fine. We can all look like geniuses next week when we get it.
Yeah, we all look like geniuses when it's 0-0.
But cancel the show, bro. We're like, yeah, no one watch Friday no more.
Get rid of it. Michael here with a super chat says, the Wirtz discussion is overblown. The team needs to adapt to him as well. He runs into the right spaces after passing, but is ignored. With regards to Everton, we will bury them. Do you know what's interesting, Michael? And my example, my analogy might upset a few people, but it reminds me of gang warfare, right? And hear me out. You know, like you whether again, none of us live. Well, I say none of us live in the States. Staffy does, but we have these issues here. But I don't think it's as prevalent as say in South Central and places like that. But I've watched documentaries on it, and you've seen movies about it and read books about it, where you know someone gets shot and killed. And then there's a retaliation, so somebody from the opposing gang gets shot and killed. And it goes so on and so forth forever, essentially. I feel like we've done that on a non-violent, but on an intellectual level in the football fandom world where, you know what? You guys came for my player when he first signed. You only gave him 10 games. I'm giving you 5 games. And the next time, you went for Liverpool, play within 5 games. I'm going for your guy on game week 1. And then someone else will go, you're one of my rivals. You went on game week 1. I'm going on preseason matches. It's just tit for tat and then trying to one-upmanship on each other. And you are right. It is massively, massively overblown. But this is where Liverpool fans have got an opportunity here to help fix football and football discourse. And you can take the moral high ground and you can help to fix things by not retaliating with kind and just being grown up, having a little bit of banter, but they're having serious conversations about players that have signed for other clubs. But if you perpetuate it, if you fan the flame, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And it's boring. You're absolutely right. It is boring in every single which way. We've got to stop this stuff, We've got to stop the killing. Let's stop the killing. Stop the killing over postcodes and people that don't belong to us. You know what I mean? Got to get that done. You see that loss is actually a good thing, not a negative. Okay, we'll come back to the Chelsea stuff in a moment. We'll come back to that. JR says, everyone going in on Liverpool, and I love it. But I think we are all forgetting they lost a teammate not long ago, and we can see some players are still struggling, and the new players will probably take a little time to bed in.
I don't know. I'm sorry, bro. Like, listen, I hear this, and I understand what he means. If you would have told me that in the first game of the season, I would agree with you. We saw Mo Salah grief after the game. I'll be honest, bro. I don't think anything that we mentioned is related to that. I'm not saying that he's still not on some people's minds. I'm sure it is. I'm sure they still go sometimes, especially the players that spent a lot of time with him. They go into the training ground. They go into certain games. And maybe players that were close to him or they had before, like those game day routines, they still kind of like remember those things. But I'll be honest, bro, I'm watching football, and I don't think the reason Liverpool are winning every game last minute is because Jota passed away. Respectfully, like I don't even want to sound dismissive of it because I'm not. But like honestly, bro, there's so much more football aspects that I see with my eyes in 90 minutes that I can address than to use this as a somewhat of an excuse, as I want to say here. But yeah, I don't fully agree with the super chat.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm trying to keep it as respectful as possible because I don't want to be dismissive of it.
I understand that, and I don't think. Yeah, I don't necessarily. I sort of agree. Maybe we're wrong, and maybe it'll all come out in the wash. I don't necessarily think conceding the goals the way they did to Ati, which I don't even think were their fault. One was offside, the other one was a deflected volley, and Bournemouth. I don't necessarily think that's because of sort of what's gone on horrifically at the football club. I just think there's an element of most teams have got a vulnerability this year. Yes, City have won their last two games 3-0 and 2-1, but City fans will tell you the truth. The Napoli game would have been different if 10 men were on the pitch. And they weren't secure against United. Forget what rivals said, like outside of City and United. Every City fan I've spoken to this week was like, maybe it wasn't really a 3-0 game. I was nervous before the game kicked off, and one goal and it could have all swung in the other direction. And the reason that I say that is that loads of teams have got vulnerabilities. But I actually think that's because I don't think there's much anyone could do about it. The way football is now, with all the speed and power people have on the transition, it's like nothing we've ever seen before. There's very little you can do to counteract that unless you sit in deep like Burnley did. Burnley won't get counterattacked the way they were playing against Liverpool. It's impossible. But when you attack and you commit a midfielder or two into that attack, when your fullbacks get forward, you are susceptible. And as long as a team has 2 or 3 players that can run as fast or quicker than your players, if you're caught out of position, there's not much you can do. So I think we're slightly over-egging it a little bit, if that makes sense.
High risk, high reward, though. It's just high risk, high reward, man.
Yeah. No, I agree. This year says, well, I never hit on another team's players because of price. I only hit on Arteta and hope his reign will last forever. Bridesmaids, lol. Well, look, I'm not talking about what individuals do. It's the collective. We all know that everyone's players get signed. We heard Jamie Carragher chatting nonsense about Chelsea the other day, talking about the 2 billion again. It's a disgrace that the mainstream media is allowed to push that 2 billion figure without explaining that half of it was spent on players to invest in that they're going to sell for profit in the future as a way of maintaining a higher level of income. And to ignore that diminishes the debate, because you'll remove. I heard an Arsenal debate this week, and this is exactly what Troy Deeney said. He went, if you take Saka out the equation, who's the one player you can guarantee on when fit for like output for Arsenal? He went, Liverpool have got Salah and probably Isak now. City have Haaland. Who's the guy that Arsenal can rely on? And I'm sitting there laughing, going, but you just removed him from the debate. If you remove Liverpool's main guy from the debate, and Man City's like, if you remove Haaland from the debate, it's the same answer. Yeah, no one that's as good at getting GA as him. In fact, if Arsenal don't have anyone yet that's proven to have the GA of those two, but it's like you can't remove Saka from the equation and then go, there's no one else. Well, most teams don't have more than one, and it remains to be seen yet. I think he will. If Isak's going to score on the same level as a Haaland, I mean, listen, I think Isak's amazing, but Haaland just hit his 50th Champions League goal in 48 games. I think there's a little bit of disrespect on Haaland's name, actually, when you look at the level he's been at, the goals he scored, the competitions, the trophies, the consistency. Even last year when City were bad, the man still racked up over 30 goals in all competitions or something. He's a man.
I can't lie, he's been looking amazing this season.
Oh, yeah, he's been looking sharp. He's been looking sharp.
I'm not gonna lie, for someone who's criticized him a lot for his overall game outside of goals, he's just been doing so much, man. He averaged double his average. He averaged more than double his touches in the United game last week than he has in his whole career. And then I see him the last two games, to be fair. Not only does he drop deep and he looks good now a little bit on the link up, he's making so many runs in behind. He's hunting down balls. He's causing center backs to get sent off. His link up with Foden looks amazing. I'm not gonna lie, he's adding. This is probably our worst nightmare as people who don't own Haaland in their club. He's just becoming a little bit more an overall striker right now. He's adding so much to what he was criticized for, and that's not to dismiss some of the criticism that he's going over the years. I think it was valid sometimes to criticize when he's not effective in games. What do you offer? I feel like now, even when he doesn't score, which I can't remember the last time he didn't score, he actually adds a lot. He's always somewhere involved right now in the game. And I look at that and that's actually scary, because how old is he? 24? Like, this guy, physically, he's not even in his prime. I know he is, but like by studies, you're not meant to enter your prime until you're 27. God knows what the fuck is going to happen when this kid is actually, not only is he physically, I know physically he's in his prime right now, but imagine when intelligence-wise, he hits 27, 28. So he had got the experience, the intelligence, and the footballing ability. It's a scary sight, bro. No wonder why fucking City put him on a 10-year contract. Like, it just makes sense.
Yeah, man.
What I'm hearing there is that KDB was the problem, because now the link-up plays good. So it's KDB's fault, is what I heard you just say there. You see, that's the little joke. It's not really serious. I should start the disclaimer. Remember the disclaimers I used to do? We should start with the disclaimers again when we say it's a joke, so none of the silly people get hurt. But yeah, it's crazy. And we had the Newcastle fans on with us the other day, and they were saying, "Oh, Shearer was as good as him at this age." We went and did the numbers, and in something like 100 less games at the same age, he scored about 120 more goals. And by the way, Shearer had a sickeningly high amount of goals at 24, 25. And I don't think people realize, finishing wise, I'm talking purely the goals. I think he's the best goal scorer Europe's ever produced, putting the ball in the back of the net. And he's the best goal scorer I've seen since, as a young player, since a young R9. And I'm talking putting the ball in the back of the net. People want to unpack that and go, oh my God, Terry thinks he's better than R9. Not what I said. I purely said the goal scoring. But yeah, he's been very, very good this year. Viewers, make sure you've hit the like button and make sure you are subscribing. See a big one tomorrow evening, though, boys. It's a big one. And Don, you must be confident going into this game that Chelsea could not only hurt Manchester United, but potentially end Ruben Amorim's career at Manchester United, at Manchester United as the head coach. How are you feeling going into that game tomorrow?
Well, when I think about some of the things that could happen, putting the nail in the coffin for Ruben, Garnacho doing another Adebayor if he scores, running across the pitch and, that's what I need, bro. Yeah, because I'm telling you, if Shirley Carter scores in this game,
Shirley Carter.
I'll drop that name and I'll be singing Viva Garnacho. Yeah, big up Robert. I'll be singing Viva Garnacho as loud as I can, bro. You might even go to the pitch and slide with him.
Man, Shirley Carter is hilarious. Sorry.
I might have to drop that name if he bags against you, man. Because, bro, he's got to celebrate. He has to celebrate, bro. Yeah. But Terry, I'm telling you, I'm just feeling listen, as bad as you are right now, funny how Mason Mount and Cunha seem to be available now all of a sudden against Chelsea. It's always us where players always seem to come back, right? It's just every time, bro, we go to Old Trafford, it's hard to explain why our footballing ability just drops off and our managers just lose their head. I honestly can't remember the last time we went there and played well. Like I think we went there once again with Tuchel, played quite well there, but overall something always goes wrong. In Ten Hag's season, like you guys had what, over 30 shots. Scott McTominay scored 2 goals. You know, Palmer scored a goal, but most of it you should have battered us. Last year, everyone was off of it, bro. Apart from Caicedo, most of the players weren't up for it. You know, Maresca was poor in terms of the subs and the in-game management and whatnot. This time round, bro, we need to bounce back. So the other day, what lost us that game, Terry, was our mentality, right? We didn't go there and dominate the game for large parts of the game. We need to go to Old Trafford and absolutely dominate that midfield, right? We're basically going to be playing 4 midfielders. If he wants to overlap Gusto again, it will be Palmer right wing, but it's not actually right wing. He'll be playing in the right half space, which means it will be Palmer, most likely Enzo. He might even start Reece in there again and a Caicedo or even a Santos up against a 2-man midfield. You have to be dominating that, bro. You have to be. But this time round, we need to be clinical in front of goal. Because once again, every time we go to Old Trafford, we don't like scoring there. Don't like scoring there at all. I remember going there in Poch's season when we lost, was it 4-1 when João Felix scored, yeah? Who should have had about 3 assists in that game? Mudryk missing, Gallagher missing, Enzo should have left with about 2 assists as well, right? So in this game, when you talk about the quality of both the teams, we're better than you right now. You know, we're a better team than you right now. But it's just the mentality, bro. What Chelsea's going to turn up? You know, I'm not saying I've lost the belief in the team because, you know, we haven't been playing well, but this would be a good game to get out of second gear and actually start to play well.
Did it feel a little bit, I don't want to use the word must win, but
yeah,
drawing the way you did against Brentford, the loss against Bayern Munich, if Man United, considering our problems, was to then beat you 3 games without a win, Man United would actually go above you in the league as well. Do you worry about that?
Why have you got to say that? Why have you got to fucking say that?
No, because I think it's again, I think you're a better team than we are, by the way. And I don't think Chelsea, I'm not writing Chelsea off, even if that happens. But do you feel that I see a lot of Chelsea fans talking about mentality, the media? Could there be a mini crisis of confidence that sets in if you do come to Old Trafford and lose?
It's already happening. It's already happening. I'm seeing someone tweeted saying Maresca's system doesn't suit Chelsea or some bullshit like that, right? So we have to get back to winning ways, bro. And this is a really good way to do it. You know, Chelsea's record against the big teams, you know, recently hasn't been amazing. I know last year we beat Liverpool at home, we beat United at home. You know, Arsenal, we drew them at home, cool. But we need to be going to these big teams and winning these games, especially if you want to make sure that you're solidifying top 4 as a start, right? And obviously competing as well. We need to go there and make a bit of a statement. And for me personally, I know I'll take however win, Terry, but I want to see a performance with it, right? Chelsea, obviously, we didn't have a preseason, so technically we're still kind of building fitness. And no one's been amazing yet. Even like I said, Liverpool haven't been great. Arsenal have been some games good, some games bad. For us, it's a similar sort of thing, bro. We've had good halves, good second halves. You know, West Ham, we were good in that. But this time round, bro, we have to go there and embarrass these guys, because if we score first, Terry, I can see heads just dropping. You know, I'm hearing Bruno is not enjoying playing for Amorim right now. Yeah, Mainu's obviously not enjoying what's going on, right? Your Sesko's not getting no creativity. I can just see heads going and, you know, guys forgetting to track their run, Dogu just crossing into nobody again. I can see heads dropping, bro. So we need to make sure that we bag first, because if we do, it could be a bloodbath, blood. It could be a bloodbath, yeah? But I need to see Maresca manage the game a lot better, man. I can't be seeing João Pedro just not really playing up top. Use your bench. Use Mark Gill. Bring on Santos early if you have to. You've got Esteval right now that you can use. Garnacho might actually start the game as well, because Maresca said he's been looking good and, you know, he's ready to start. So it'll be interesting to see what he does, man, because we can win this game. We've got more than enough to win this game. More than enough to win this game, man.
I suppose Staffy with Chelsea, we'll go on to United in a second. It is the first time as well with this group, this manager and this group of players, where they've played a very high intensity away game midweek, Champions League, and then have a Premier League game straight away. Is that something that could be a vulnerability for United to exploit? Because they're not going to rotate massively from that game. It's not like it's the Europa League. Could that be something with a team that hasn't done that before?
I mean, yeah, you could look at that, at it from that angle and say this crop of players are not used to playing intense midweek games like the one they had against Bayern, and then go and play on a Saturday. It's something we haven't seen. Considering the depth of their squad, I don't think they have a lot of quality in certain areas. So I don't think you can change a lot in the back line. As an example, I expect Tosin to be there, and I expect what's his name, Chalaba to be there. Thank you. I don't expect a lot of changes in the midfield. I mean, I don't think Caicedo was going to be. He's physically he's a beast. He'll be okay. But I don't expect a lot of difference in the midfield. The only thing that you could talk about is probably the left wing.
Santos might start, bro. Santos might start. If he starts breathing again in the middle, yeah, bro. Come on, bro. We played a game the other day. We played like Terry's saying, bro. Like the intensity is different. Santos, he came off the bench, bro. He might start the game.
The only thing that I was going to suggest is probably a difference in the left wing. That's pretty much it. But even there's a scenario also that I don't know if you're going to dismiss it. But there's a scenario where I think you guys can put what's his name, Pedro Neto on the right. And then you play Palmer back in the 10, and you have Enzo and Caicedo there. So I don't know. I mean, I would say 90% of the players are going to play again, but I don't think it's going to make a huge difference because I think the saving grace is that they're going against Man United right now, and I don't think there's any amount of fatigue that is going to affect them so much where they're just going to look worse than United. I don't see a scenario. I'd love to see a scenario, but I don't, and it's mainly because Ruben Amorim. I mean. If I can't think of I can think of a lot of words actually to describe him as amateurish, naive, gullible, credulous, just everything, bro. There's so many words, bro. Like I could literally sit here and just make like a list of words to describe this man as a football manager right now. Enzo Maresca has the easiest blueprint in the world right now to play Man United with. He's gonna go with the same blueprint that Marco Silva went in with Pep Guardiola went in with, Mikel Arteta went in with, Scott Parker went in with, and even the Grimsby manager. The game that I still refuse to watch and I'll never watch it. I'm pretty sure he had the same blueprint. It is so easy to play football games against Man United, and it's because of one man and one man only, in my opinion, and it's Ruben Amorim. This guy, the way he sets up the team is not going to change this weekend. He's not going to learn anything from that Bayern game. And he's not going to learn anything from our game against City and say, let me change up a little bit in my system or let me tweak a few things. We exactly know what's going to happen again. He was talking in his press conference about, what was he talking? He was talking about crossing. And I'm like, brother, like no disrespect. I don't look at this Chelsea team and do I think like, oh my God, they're such an aerial threat. I don't think that's their biggest element. But that was what he was talking about in the press conference. And that just already shows me what I'm up for.
We are an aerial threat. We are an aerial threat.
Yeah, but like, no disrespect, bro. I don't look at you and I think like, oh my God, if we don't stop them aerially, they're like Arsenal as an example. There's so many other ways to hit us. And the fact that he's only talking about crossing, let's be honest, we're not even a good team in defending set pieces anyways. So if he's talking about crossing in corners or set pieces, whatever, we're doomed anyways because we got in there and goal. And this guy alone is a reason to always like target us on set pieces. Other than that, I mean, the midfield is probably the biggest thing to address, and you had zero mention of it. And it's all fine to talk about Cunha being back and Mount being back. The only thing those two are going to add to this system right now and help us with is they're going to help with the midfield. When the midfield gets cooked, they're going to be able to drop and they're going to give us numbers there, and that's it. Other than that, I don't expect this manager to make any tweaks. There's actually no reason for me to say that because he actually comes out after every game and he said after last game, I will not change anything. So he's already made it easy for Enzo Maresca to know, hey, by the way, if you want to know how we're going to play next week, I just told you. We're going to play the same shit way again. He's going to set up that midfield to fail. He's going to set up that back line to fail. And he's going to set up the front line to fail again. We're going to see some of the players being that are good at certain positions being played out of position. More notably, your boy, Bruno Fernandes. As much as we argued over him for years, I look at him and I'm like, bro, I can't even be mad at him. The guy's not a DM. How can I be mad at DM not tracking back Phil Foden or not being position disciplined when I know he's not that type of player? I've watched him for enough years to know he's not even disciplined when he's the 10, let alone being in a deeper position. And you're certainly not getting the best out of him. Even when he went on that purple patch last season and we were talking about, look how he's outperforming everyone in the bad team, he was doing that from the 10. He was scoring goals left and right for that 1-2 month because he was playing in the 10. So whether you agree Bruno's our future or not, we can at least agree that his best position is being in the final third. And this manager's putting way deeper in the pitch that you're not even enabling to get that. And then by that, you make your backline struggle because they're getting a little bit more exposed. And I don't think they're individually that bad, but I think the way the system sets up, they have to do a lot of 1v1 defending. And I don't think that's a good approach from a manager to leave their backline exposed all the time and conceding a lot of chances. And even the front line. The front line, you look at the front line, I'm getting Mbeumo, who scored 20 goals last season. And one thing I've been saying about all summer, you don't get your best goal scorers away from goal. You sign them and you say, how can I play them close to goal as possible? The guy showed us, you give him half a space, half a turn, he's going to shoot. Last game, first shot on target that he got was what? In the 60-something minute? A half volley or a volley from a cross. I forgot who made the cross in. And if it wasn't for Donnarumma making an amazing save, that's probably his goal right there. The guy took him over an hour of play to get a shot on target. The rest of the game before that, I'm watching him. He's struggling on that right-hand side. He's doing target man work on the halfway line from the right-hand side. Sure, I think he's a good target man on the counter, but his best ability is scoring goals. How is he that far? Why is my striker, or he's not my striker, but why is my best attacker, best goal scorer, about 40 yards away from the goal every time he gets the ball? Same thing with Ahmad. His best position, I think he's being killed on the right wing right now. Whether you think he's overrated or not, we're not getting the best out of him being on the right wing right now. And Sesko, I've been rambling on all these players. He's getting called Tesco. Look, he's already a flop or whatever. What is a striker meant to do? When they have 3 shots on target in 5 games. Most of these games he didn't start, fair enough. But you don't get a striker and limit him to 3 shots on target in 5 games. And by that, you can sit there and make an honest assessment. Don't do it about Haaland. Don't do that. I saw that. Don't do it. I just saw the little smirk. Don't do that. Sesko hasn't had a fair chance like Haaland. Haaland had a fair chance. And Haaland was shooting 1.5 times for it. At least I seen Sesko last game out of nothing say, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to take this ball, I'm going to turn, I'm going to shoot it. He's actually trying to shoot. The manager's limiting him to the service that he gets. But other than that, I do see him trying to get involved in the game. But that's not what we signed him for. We didn't sign him to drop in the midfield and try to link up play. And then when he runs, he doesn't even get the ball back. The system right now is neutering these players left and right.
I agree.
Perform at their best in their best positions. And until the manager either drastically changes what he does or he leaves, I don't expect a lot of changes at this United team, unfortunately.
So I agree with big percentage of what you've said, but equally what I'm not going to do is completely let these players off the hook. I think letting these players...
I heard you said on the match action, don't do that. These players are trying. You said we can't let them off the hook. I can tell when the players are trying. These players are not down tools.
How about you let me finish? You let me finish? So the downing tools conversation, I suppose it's a colloquial term we use for not trying hard enough. Do I think anybody is actively not trying? No. Could there be a subconscious element? Absolutely. And I think you two, all three of us have experienced it at some point in our life. Maybe when you're at work and a new process comes in, you think it's stupid. And then the second one little thing goes wrong. You may say it out loud. You might say in your head, like, I knew this was crap, right? That I don't think anyone who thinks like that gives 100%. But let's put that aside and just say they are.
And that's exactly why, before you even finish, Terry,
go on.
That's exactly why I'm saying if we score first, I can see
the head will go down.
Yeah, they don't believe in what's going on.
Where I also think these players lack, it's not even about Amorim, it's just the culture at the club. First 20 minutes in quite a few games, we look really good. And it could be that we just get found out. Could be. Or it could be that these players, and I've long since thought this, ever before Amorim was here, this is not an Amorim conversation. Oh, it's hard work to play like that for 90 minutes. We did 20 minutes. We're good. There's an element of that in my mind. But let's put all the effort aside. Where I'm holding the players accountable is nothing to do with effort. In the first 20 minutes against City, I've never seen a team, and I know he's had his injuries, but I've never seen a team press Rodri out of possession as much as we did. Ahmad had the chance to feed in Mbeumo close to goal, like you asked him to be done. What does Ahmad do? Overhits the ball by about 25 yards. Mbeumo, great bit of play on the right-hand side, put in, running through onto goal. There's an early cross he can play in for Ahmad at the back post, or he can take the extra 2 touches but cut it back to Šeško for the shot that you want him to get. What does Mbeumo do? He delays, so the only option now is the cutback, because Ahmad, who I rate, but he is a hobbit compared to other football players, instead of cutting it back to Šeško, he hits a cross, which one of the City defenders, I forget which one, clears the ball. We did another situation, really good play, pressed well, won the ball back, knocked it out to Dorgu. Šeško's in the middle, no centre back close, cross the ball into the centre. He's there for at least a shot on goal, if not a tap in. What does he do with the cross? Crosses it to the back post where Ahmad, look, he tries an overhead kick. Fair play for trying it, but he probably should have controlled the ball because he had the time and the space. Those three examples, plus Mbumo missing an open goal, Casemiro missing an open goal later in the game. My perspective is this. I absolutely agree with you. I would like to see, I don't mean change your complete philosophy on the game, but a slight adaptation. You know, put a centre back into a certain area, make maybe one of the 10 drop a little bit deeper for certain periods of the game to make sure the midfield isn't as stifled. Do something that throws Chelsea off. I agree with you. But what I'm not going to do is sit here and pretend like this season, because I won't bring it down to just the City game. This season, these players, and I rate a lot of them, and I hope they do well, have also let us down massively. And I don't want to be partly responsible for creating a culture, which is manager goes, players get a clean slate. I think we still need to hold them to account, because I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow, if we lose 2-0. But I wouldn't be surprised if before we concede, Cunha and Mbumo, or Cunha and Šeško, or Cunha and or Bruno, or Cunha and Mount. I know I keep saying Cunha, but I'm just using them as examples. I wouldn't be surprised if one or two of them miss big chances, then we go and concede, then the head drop, and then we lose. And as much as Amorim can get blamed for lots of things that I will hold into account, I just feel like I can't let these players off the hook. They've still got a job to do. The system didn't stop Ahmad from overhitting that pass. The system didn't stop Cunha missing those two massive chances against Fulham that I think he should be scoring. And so for me, I don't disagree with anything you've said about Amorim. I concur, but I'm also looking at the players. I think collectively tomorrow, they've got an opportunity here to give the fans some pride. They've got an opportunity to not recover the bad start, but, go on to 7 points, jump up the table. It's still early in the season. One win can chuck you 5, 6, 7 points, places up in the league. You then play Brentford, who are a little bit sketchy at the minute compared to before. Then you've got a newly promoted team. You could go on a little run, but I'm looking at both to do something. Do I think we're going to do it? Listen, of course, Man United can win. There is a possibility United win tomorrow. Do I think it's going to happen? Less than 5%. For me, but my personal prediction, yes, the history's on our side. Chelsea haven't won there. This team, listen, Sir Jim flew in this week. Yes, it was for scheduled meetings, and the manager has come out, and I read what the manager said because I had this ready.
Yeah.
He said, I spoke with him. He said, I spoke with...
Did he try to make a joke? He said he offered me a new contract or some
contract shit was offered. No, it was a normal thing to offer support. Normal times. I spoke with him, Omar, and Jason. He says that trying to go through all the data around the games. So a normal meeting, and we have had several, but in this moment, it's normal. People pay attention to that. For me, the more he says that, the less I believe it. I think there was definitely some strong words in there. Yes, they might have gone. Yep, the data, because there is data that backs him that. The entries into the box, the chances created, the GA, where we've had the balls, touches in the opponent's box is all amazing compared to last year. But the conversion rate's bad. All these things are awful. But equally, some of the goals we've conceded this year are on him. The fact that this is the game to start the new goalkeeper. You're at home. The fans are going to have his back. Bayern, I wouldn't blame him for any of the goals the other week. But I don't think the defenders ahead of him feel secure with what's behind them. Give a new goalkeeper a try. If he puts Bayern in goal, imagine we lose 1-0 direct from a corner again because Bayern flaps at it. That will be completely 100% on a mistake on Ruben Amorim. So, look, I think he's under a lot of pressure. That the board are circling and putting lists together. I think a lot of the players are losing faith, which happens when they smell blood. The players are clever. The players are clever. I'll give them that. They know I can get myself out of trouble here. I know what I can do. They've done it before. They've seen it before with some of them have seen it with 3 or 4 managers. Some of them have seen it with 1 or 2. But I see a Chelsea win. I'm gutted about that. I wish we could go into this game and I'd love to season more. But just like with Liverpool and Everton, it's a possibility Man United win. But for me, I'm going with Chelsea, unfortunately.
Just before you come in, Staffy, just to go back a little bit, Terry, to what you were saying about the players and obviously not letting them get off scot-free. I agree with you, right? In terms of when you have momentum, you got to make sure at this level that you're using that momentum, right? Very similar to the Chelsea game, bro. We had momentum at the start of the game and we didn't make use of it. The final ball was poor from the likes of Neto and these sort of guys, and similar sort of thing with United. You've been seeing Ahmad getting in good positions and breaking down the attack. What's his name? Dogu, Dogu from O Block, getting in certain positions on that side, and the ball just blows up every time he crosses it in, right? In Buemo, again, not being that great again in the final third. He's not that creative, is he? He's more of a goal scorer. But at the same time, I can't look at 15, 20 minutes in a game, Terry, a 90-minute game, and only be talking about a period where you could have done something. Yeah, that's where I'm looking at the system overall, because I'm looking at the pattern. I'm looking at the patterns of play. It's not great. I don't see the pattern that I see from United. Yeah, is left hand side Dogu cross, left hand side Dogu cross, right? Left hand side Dogu cross, and most of the crosses are shit, blood. They're so bad.
But you know what you also don't see. And again, I spoke about this in the first 3 Premier League games of the season. We were better against Burnley. So I go watch the match reaction. It's there. He's on the right-hand side. And I like Ahmad. But the amount of times I screamed at him, why are you not running at your fullback? Especially in the Fulham game. Why are you not running at your fullback? Why are we not? It's not even crossing it. Why are we not crossing it earlier? So Dorgu's crosses have been bad. The right-hand side, no fucker wants to cross the ball. And you've got to. When you've got a 6'5" striker on the pitch, cross that fucking ball to his head, and he should be the man you're aiming for every single time. So
Terry, a lot of this is instructions, though, and this is why I was trying to call this out. Everything that you just said, let's reel back a little bit. Don mentioned a very important thing right now. He mentioned Dorgu. I want to go back to a point. Yes, you are right. We have been missing too many chances. I'm not disputing that. But you're talking about a 20-minute period in the game, which I see gets repeated almost every game, especially against bigger oppositions, where I think we always start the game well, we miss a couple chances, and then we just get nullified in the game because eventually the other midfield takes over the game anyways, and we don't prioritize that. We will never be a decent team when we allow teams to take over the midfield battle, and anyone who knows a little bit of football will always say, what? The game is won and lost where? In the midfield. United, back to what you were saying about missing chances or whatever, one of the biggest issues, in my opinion, that we have is that we have too many defenders on the pitch anyways. So when you get in the final third, and we're talking about Dorgu's not even an attacker like that. Dorgu, to me, is a little bit more defensive. Yes, he's in attacking areas. People misunderstand the difference between where you are in the pitch and what kind of player you are. I know Dorgu's position, his average position on the pitch, is kind of high. But you look at his attacking actions, they're not the best. I don't like Dorgu in a game where that defense is locked down or whatever, and there's not a lot of transitioning. What he's shown us in preseason, his best ability is when there's space to run into, he creates an overlap for someone, and you give him the ball into space. You give him the ball into space, he'll do something. Once you give him a situation where now he has to stand on the ball and make a decision with a couple defenders in front of him, I already know he's making the wrong one. His crossing was way off last game, and to be fair, a lot of people's crossing last game was off. Equally, on the other side, you're talking about we're not crossing the ball enough. I'm not even seeing, every time Maguire comes on, I see him occupy the back post. I see Sesko playing, he goes to the near post. Where is the instructions from the manager? Which, by the way, he's already the one that forces our play to go wide all the time because he doesn't like to play centrally. You go to wide areas and you get these type of actions. You get bad crossing from Dorgu, and you get a situation where I feel like Ahmad and Mbeumo don't even know how to play with each other on that side because both of them want to cut in, and then you don't see the overlap. And when you see the overlap, I feel like there's always a confusion there. Balls overhit, balls underhit. I don't know what the hell's going on there. But our play is too wide anyways. And as I said, when one of the two is already defending a defender, so he doesn't really have that attacking-minded creativity when he reaches that final third, I'm going to struggle to create more. I don't want to just rely on the first 20 minutes and say, fuck, I missed my chances. That's it. The game is over. I want to see repetition. I want to see creativity. I want to see Bruno playing high. I want to see Manu play in high positions. Obviously, Cunha and Mount were out, but I want to see attacking players in these attacking positions. I don't want to see a formation or a team when we play. I have 6 outfielders that are defensive-minded and only 4 attackers. That is not good enough for attacking-minded system.
I understand what you're saying, but I also think there's elements we're forgetting here. So I just went back while you were talking and looked at things. So in the Arsenal game, when we say spells, we had 22 shots in the game. And if you look at the shot counter, just go on to who scored, it's great. It shows
Which one? The game?
Sorry?
Which game you said? The City game?
Arsenal. So I'm going to break this. So I get your point. In both our away games, there's been long periods where we haven't created and been good enough. But I'm talking overall here this season. The Arsenal game, we had 22 shots. When you look at the shot counter, that was very evenly spread over the course of the game. The longest period we went without having a shot was from around the 50th minute of the game until around the 68th minute. We didn't have any shots and Arsenal had 2. Outside of that, consistent shots. The home game against Burnley, very similar, 26 shots on goal. When you look at the shot counter, very evenly spread over the course of the football match. Against City, most of our shots actually came after we went 3-0 down. And we, again, could have scored in that. And that was a really good sort of 20-minute spell for us. But in the City game in the beginning, my frustration was we didn't even create the shooting opportunities.
The final ball was bad. I agree with you. I've seen too many examples.
And again, the thing is, though, lads, there's nothing you're saying that I overly disagree with. I want Manu further up. I want Bruno further up. I want him to take those risks in games. I don't mind losing when you're attacking like that and you get caught on the counter. It bothers me less. My view of, though, is that we just let players off the hook a little bit too much. I want to go to some comments that have come through, though, on this. Because I'm also going to school KJ here. He says, Cunha and Mbeumo have scored 35 goals combined last season, but they look like they will rarely score. Why do you think that is? Well, there's pressure there. Listen to this as a fact. Last year, Cunha averaged 2.8 shots per game. So far at Man United, he's taking 3 per game. Mbeumo last year was only taking 1.7 shots per game. The motherfucker scored 20-odd goals. So far this season at Man United, he's taking 2.5 shots per game. They're getting goal-scoring opportunities. The difference is when you look at both of them last year compared to this year, and this is something that this is an individual element, is when you look at the conversion rates, 32%.
Yeah, but how many clear-cut chances are they getting, though?
Well, Cunha's had at least 2 clear cut, and he's had some that are difficult. He's only played 3 games though. Like, if you get, in terms of big chances, if a player like him got 35 to 40 over the course of a whole season, that's quite good for a player playing in a 10. But it's a conversion rate for Cunha last year. And by the way, what Cunha and neither have done yet is what I was waiting to see. And it's only 3 or 4 games. Is both of them last year and the season before, they score a lot of goals. Shots from outside the box, shot from the corner of the boxes, difficult goals to score. Neither have delivered any of those yet, and I expect them to at some point. That's part of their arsenal. But Cunha last season, 18% conversion rate, 0 so far this year. Mbeumo last season, 31% conversion rate, 10% so far for Man United. There's nothing you guys have said about the system that I overly disagree with, but I'm not going to ignore the mistakes and the issues. Like, Shaw being square for that first goal and Bruno not going with his runner, I don't necessarily blame the system. There has to be individual responsibility for me. This year says that elements of what Amorim is doing is wrong. However, are we really saying a group of professional players who believe are capable of better after almost 10 months under a manager are incapable of adapting?
Exactly, Patrick. It's been 10 months. I'm hearing Bruno come after the game talking about, when I pressed, Lenny Euro dropped, and the suggestions that they did. Like, it just seems like after 10 months, the players don't even get the system. And I get it, because I think the system, whatever he's trying to apply, is complicated on and off the ball, especially on the ball. As I said, we go wide too many times. Our central progression is just non-existent. We put a center back in the midfield. And then we go wide anyways. Every time you watch United, just watch United go balls from the center back to the wing back, and then they just run down the wing. Nothing comes down the middle. The best you see from United, I think, which is, I don't think it's coincidentally here, the Arsenal and which game you said? The Burnley game. Those are the 2 games that we were afforded the most space. Arsenal, obviously, were trying to attack us in that first half, so we hit them on that long ball so many times. And I don't know what the fuck Scott Parker was doing against us. He had 0 respect for us. We were just running into alleys the whole game. It was so easy to run at them. Those are 2 games that I thought, okay, those are the best 2 games we played because we were afforded that space. You set up a midfield competently in front of us. We just go wide, and then lose the ball, and that's it. And then we get surprised that when we don't have the ball for the majority of the game, we're conceding the ball, and eventually we lose the game. I'm never going to win the game if I'm surrendering the ball in the most critical times of the game. Against City, our best period came after we went down 3-0. They stopped playing football. They didn't care. They just wanted to defend.
Staffy, but I'm not defending Amorim. But this idea that if you don't have enough of the ball, you're never going to win a game.
Because we don't have the midfield, Terry. You can't name me one team that wins without a midfield.
Staffy, please let me finish my point before you interject. At the end of the day, I want more of the ball. I want to dominate more. I'm not disagreeing with you. But this idea in football, I just want as a general message that you put out, forget Ruben Amorim for a moment. You don't need the ball all the time in a game to win a football match. We had
but you need a midfield, Terry. It's fine if I don't have the ball, but if my midfield is not set up.
Okay, well that's a different statement, isn't it? Because I've seen teams win the Premier League by not dominating teams with the ball. I've seen teams win the Champions League.
What is the ceiling of these teams? I'm not talking about just winning a 90-minute game, Terry. I'm talking about being a good team.
Again, but it isn't possession. It's what you do with it. We had more of the ball against Man City. We had more of the ball against Burnley.
Oh my God.
The only team that we haven't had more of the ball against so far this season has been Fulham. But it's what we do when we're in possession. So yes, people crowd our midfield. And I heard Gary Neville say one of the most stupid things I've ever heard from a pundit. Oh, the only way they can stop the crowding in the midfield is for one of the three centre-backs to step up. And then you have a defender in a really unnatural position, like we haven't been watching players, including centre-backs, invert for the past 4 or 5 years in football. But it's about people doing the right thing in possession. If you crowd the midfield, if we get our midfield crowded, it means we've got room on the wing.
Okay, we don't do that.
It's why in the Fulham... No, we do it. You go and watch the
How do we crowd the midfield, Terry? We don't even invert one of the wing backs in it. What do we do?
You
leave 3-on-2 every game.
You misheard me. Our opponents crowd the midfield. Against Burnley, what we did to address that, and it was very, very good, is Luke Shaw was stepping up into the midfield when somebody was moving forward and to create the extra number. That is what should be happening. That one of our centre-backs should be stepping into the midfield on a very regular basis to make those numbers up. But let's say they do crowd our midfield as a tactic. Well, there's a counter to that straight away that's already in place. The system allows for it, but it's about executing it. It now means there's room out wide. You can't crowd the midfield with your players and then not leave room on the outside because you're not playing with 13, you're playing with 11. So then when the ball goes out to the Dorgus, Ahmad, who's been there, your job is to then run at those fullbacks because that is what Ruben Amorim wants. And as I've said before, go back to that Fulham game where we weren't dominating the ball when they crowded the midfield. Every time Ahmad got that ball, he didn't run at his fullback. He didn't want it that game. And he must be criticised for it. You don't have to like the system, but I'm still going to judge individual players when they do things wrong, because I think we have to hold them. We can't just, for me, let them off the hook. Let's go to what Jack has said here. Jack has said, Terry, no one is not letting the players off the hook. They are being poorly coached, but also can we stop making it seem like these players have all got managers sacked because they haven't? Listen, I agree. Anyone who's ever said that it's the managers have never done anything wrong and didn't deserve to be sacked or didn't warrant being sacked is not telling the truth. Again, this is stepping away from polarization. I've agreed with nearly everything the boys have said about Amorim's system problems and Amorim's win percentage.
I just think you're defending it too much. I can't lie to you. You're defending it too much.
No, I'm not. I've literally said I agree with what you're saying. That's the opposite of defending something. What I'm saying is I'm applying the exact balance that Joshua Jack here says I'm not. I'm looking at player issues where they're not delivering. The reason I'm not adding anything to the Amorim conversation is because I've said you are right and I agree with you. So from a debate perspective, I've literally said I get where you're coming from. But I think there are more issues than just the system.
The reason I'm saying that is because you suggested a lot of the individual players, if they did things better, the system would look better. That's at least what you're insinuating.
Well, that is not what I insinuate. What I'm insinuating is the results could have been different. And I have a fervent belief that most people, whether they like to admit it or not, the performances come secondary to the results. So had we equalized against Arsenal, had Cunha scored those chances against Fulham, had we scored like Ahmad didn't miss his open goal, had we have killed Burnley off in the first half and then still lost to City, the reaction to all those performances in those games would be very different from the majority. The pressure from the media would be different. So I look at it twofold. I'm balanced with this. Ruben Amorim deserves a lot of the stuff that he's getting. But what I think people want you to do is just go in on the manager. It's all on the manager, or 90% of it is on him. I'm not going to do that. I'm holding him accountable. I'm also holding the players accountable.
No, it is 90% of him. We have 10 months worth of evidence, Terry. I'm sorry. We had 10 months worth of evidence. When I watched 10 months of the football not progressing, and we switched the whole front line, by the way, and a lot of the players that I called shit left in the summer, and I'm seeing minimal, if any, progression at all. I'm sorry, it has to be called out.
I hear you. We are going to run out of time.
Before we move on,
very quickly, go on, mate. Go on.
Do you guys think that if we beat you and it's like an embarrassing loss where you're just dominating,
probably, yeah.
You think you'll get sacked?
I don't think right away, but probably, yeah.
Yeah, look, he could
like
get
the
sacked.
Palace game when we lost 4-0 and they sat
Yeah.
there and they said, let's sack Ten Hag, and they thought about it for a little bit. It's going to be one of those. Yeah.
I think they'll learn from that as well. He could be sacked. We'll get a new manager. We'll probably have a bounce because the players will feel happier, especially if they're adapted to. But this is why I'm looking at the players in this instance as well, and I think that Sir Jim and co should hold them massively accountable as well. So you might put 50%, 60% on the manager, but a big chunk still needs to go on these players because that overhit pass from Ahmad, I don't think that's to do with being poorly coached. I don't think there's an excuse for that. And I think if more Man United fans would have kept the pressure on the players over the past decade, as well as the manager, I think we'd be in a much better situation now as a football club, personally.
Also, saying prediction-wise, boys, before we even go through the super chat.
Yeah, because we've got to get onto the last, because I've got 20 minutes, I've got an appointment. So, prediction, I'm going 3-1 Chelsea. 3-1 Chelsea.
United lost, bro. That's all I'm saying. I don't have to predict.
Terry's got all the same predictions I'm going with, man. 3-1 Chelsea. That's what I think. 3-1 Chelsea as well, man.
3-1 Chelsea. And then after the game, he's going to tell me how the players didn't do enough. Give it up, man.
Hey,
free KJ, bro. KJ, free KJ.
Well, we'll talk about that when it comes.
Yeah. Listen, I've criticized the manager every game this season. Every game, heavily. I'm just not going to let the players off. If you want to do that, if you want to be weak with the players, you can be weak. I'm not doing it. Managers being stubborn baffles me. The greatest manager, Sir Alex Ferguson, along with the best current manager, Pep, share an important trait, adaptability. It's the one thing that gave Sir Alex Ferguson his longevity. I agree with the adaptive. I mean, it depends what you mean by adaptability. I don't think Pep is as adaptable and malleable as Sir Alex is, because he doesn't really have plan Bs to his game. Klopp was very similar. There wasn't really a plan B. Where they do adapt, though, is as football changes. And it remains to be seen whether Ruben Amorim is gonna do that over his career. You've probably got to give him as long as Pep has been in management to see how often he adapts when football changes. But so far at United, he certainly needs more of it. I agree. What a waffle. Of course, you can blame Amorim for players' heads being down. What did he do to lift them up, cowering in the back behind the staff? Yeah, I mean, listen, I criticized him for that on the stream. So again, I'm not saying he hasn't done a bad job. I also think, by the way, that another manager could do a better job than him. Areola, I think Nuno could do a better job. I think Southgate would do a better job. I think all those guys could lift their win percentage up by 20% and get it similar to levels that Jose, Oli, and Ten Hag had. But I still think the problems with this squad, if we don't recruit well, and if bad culture remains, is we'll get to the same point with those guys as we did with all the previous managers. When they're asked to go to that next level, work that little bit harder, because there is a difference in being a team that can even come second and a team that can win the league, because we never challenged for the titles those years. There's a difference in work ethic, and I don't know if this football club is built for that anymore. So I'm not just going to start ignoring the players again, because we've done that too many times. And what will happen is this is what happens. A new manager comes in, and because it's new, we're like, come on, mate, we're behind you. Then if the performances persist, it's these fucking players, man. Because what we do as Man United fans, it's manager, the new manager comes in. Then it's the players that are the issue. Then it's the owners haven't recruited right. And then when the summer ends, we go straight onto the manager again. It's been the same 7 times.
Bro, it's time to just go get Alan Kirbishley, bro. I think
would loss against VK and RA in the same week cause panic? Who?
With a loss against VK, what the fuck is VK?
I don't know who that is, bro. Write the full names. No need to panic.
You're loaded, bro. You can type more than the $2 super.
I just feel football has gone a bit weird lately. Our company and Amorim. Right.
Why did you say the team name? Why would you say VK? Who's ever called company?
He's trying to save the letters on the super chat so he doesn't go over $2.
I feel
man.
I feel like football has gone a bit weird lately. We draw a game due to an offside goal and lose 3-1 to Bayern Munich, which could have happened to any team on their day, and the team will get better as it's early.
Yeah, exactly, bro. We've seen Chelsea play a lot better than this, man.
No, I agree. Nav also says, I see that loss as actually a good thing, not a negative, because it means we've got to change the way we play, because now they should know that Liverpool,
the levels,
yeah. Step it up. I'd rather be taught a lesson early than late. It's a fair point. That's a fair point. I think we drew 2-2, but hopefully we win. I never know with United. It's always dodgy at Old Trafford. It's a hard to predict. Ronin says that losing to United after the Grimsby loss is a hard no. I hear you on that. It's funny as well, though, Staffy, because I got called out. Not called out. Someone phoned in to challenge me yesterday saying, you've got to stop being so extreme. I said, what do you mean? It's like acting like there's any Man United fan out there that's like putting nearly all the blame on Ruben Amorim. First next guest to have on the show is Staffy, that's putting nearly 90% of the blame on Ruben Amorim. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I swear, I'm saying to people, I keep hearing this silver bullet stuff. I keep hearing this silver bullet snaking.
I'll tell you what, you'll never win with this fan base, because I'll tell you why. When Amorim got hired, everyone told me I was living off Ten Hag toxicity, just being manager out to generate clicks. They were like, we'll give you 5 games until you're Amorim out. I gave Amorim all the way until the summer. And to be fair, I really, I would say I started turning on him massively around that Europa League semifinal and the final. Now, I gave him the summer that I stood on business all this whole time. I said, I just want to see him get a summer. He gets a summer, and I see regression rather than progression. And I say, you know what? I'm not seeing what I expected. For that, I can't back this. They say, you know what? You're a flip-flop. You can't win with this fan base. You give someone time, you're a flip-flop. You turn on right away. Oh, you're just trying to get views of being manager out. I can't pay attention to this fan base so much. The people who understand